Hello and welcome to a video where I will talk about using a tool called Omega-T for localizing the Monero project, and I will use the sub or the repository that contains the command line wallet and the daemon as an example. And this is this will show a situation that we run into whenever somebody merges code that contains changes to localizable strings. So when you localize Monero, you go to the translations folder and you can see a file called monero.ts. Let's have a quick look at that one because I have it open here in Notepad++. You can see that it is an XML file. It has source strings and it has in the source tag, and then when you translate this, you put your translation inside the translation tag or the translation element. It's pretty simple. Look at the previous line here. It says addressbook.cpp line 55. That is a reference to the actual source code file, the C++ file where the string appears. So let's get back to the repository and go to source, wallet, API, and here we have addressbook.cpp. So this localizable string here, invalid destination address, is automatically picked up by a script at some time, compile time, or I'm not really sure when, and it's put into this monero.ts. So if someone were to merge a change to this file that contains a change to the string in that file, that new string, maybe an added string or a removed string or a changed string, would appear in the monero.ts file. But, and this is important, it would not automatically appear in these files. So what we need to do as translators is to update these files to reflect the changes that happened in the root or the source, the basic source file. And this happened a couple of weeks ago because I had reported this issue where I claimed that the verbs generate and create were used in an incorrect way. And here I give the reason why. And as I reported this issue, I expected to have to fix it myself because I had complained about it. Makes sense that I should create a patch and a pull request for it. But there was another user who beat me to it, Maxi. So he made these changes, created a patch or created a pull request, which was later merged. And after that merge, these localized files got out of sync with the monero.ts. As you can see here from the history, they were fixed pretty rapidly. And in fact, this last one here, the Swedish translation, there is a pull request waiting to be merged, so it has already been fixed. But I will show you now a technique for how you can fix this very quickly, because if you do it the hard way, it's so difficult that we tend to refrain from making these changes to the source strings because it's so hard to update the files that need to be updated. So let's go and look at how you can fix this very fast and easy. I'm using this tool that I will start in 1 second called Omega-T. And I have prepared a project, and Omega-T has a file structure, or rather a folder structure, where you place all your source files in this source folder. And as you can see, I have placed the updated monero.ts. So this file contains changes to strings that have not yet been translated. In the tm/auto, I have placed the old version or the old translation, which lacks these changed strings. Now there's a reason why I put this string or this file in the auto folder and that will become apparent very soon. I have Omega T installed on my computer, and I start it. And I open this project that I prepared beforehand, and it's called Monero CLI Updated. So this, I'm going through this very quickly. I decided not to show or talk about the background to Omega T. I'm creating separate videos that will explain the background, how to install it, and all those things. So I'm just trying to show this specific use case because it's I think it's pretty powerful. So I can close that dialog. So what we see now here is source string, which is the one here, because remember the source file that we're translating using Omega T is the monero.ts file. So what's open in Omega T is monero.ts, the one we can see here. So this invalid destination address string is the one I have highlighted. So where does this translation come from? Well, that string was picked up automatically when the project was open from this string. Remember, this file contains all the translations from before. It lacks some translations that are not yet. So what happened was that Omega T pulled in all those already translated strings, effectively using this as a translation memory, and populated all these segments with all the strings, all the localizable strings. As we can see, most of these are already translated, which is to be expected because the changes from this pull request were very few. They could have been many, and then it would be hard to find them. But so let's scroll down here. What I have done is I've selected this option. Let's see, mark untranslated segments. So all the untranslated segments will be highlighted in purple. So all I have to do now is to scroll down to get to this one here. Now remember, terminology changed from create to generate. Here is the new string that was changed by the merge of the pull request. Here is the old string which exists in the translation memory, i.e. the old file. Now Omega T matches these two. It says that, okay, this string here is almost the same as this one. And this is how you translated it last time. It's 85% similar. And you can see here, it pulls it from this auto/Monero SVTS. So all I have to do now is to right click on this and say, replace the translation with match. So then I can bring the old translation, because it's still valid. The only thing that changed it was that it said create here before, and now it says generate. Was that simple? Actually, there is an error here that doesn't matter for this demonstration, but deterministic. Okay, so we can actually even go to the go to menu and say, take us to the next untranslated segment. Boom, and here it is. It's not in purple now because you have to sort of step out of it. I actually moved between segments by pressing the enter button. So here the same thing. It said create here before, and now it says generate. But the old create, the old version of the source string, which had create, the translation for that is now here. So all we need to do is to do replace translation with match or selection, and then it was updated. So we could go back to the beginning of the file, double click on this segment to open it, and then we could go to next untranslated segment, but there are no more untranslated segments. So now we have fixed this problem, in quotes, that was caused by this merge. Now to generate the target file, because remember, we have this one here which is out of date, and we have the source file here which has not been touched. The target file will appear in this folder as soon as we do project create translated document. And now this file appeared in the target folder, and if we open it, see it still has the old, or the sort of the wrong file name, so we need to update it to say SV, because that's the naming scheme for localized files. Let's open it in Notepad, and here we can see that, okay, invalid destination address has now been populated with måladress, and so on through the file. There is a small issue, or a rather big issue if you think about it. This attribute needs to be before we finished, we need to remove this attribute from all these tags. That should have been done by the command create translated documents. I mean, it should have really have been removed. They shouldn't be there, but we're actually using a plugin to Omega T to be able to edit TS files, which I talk about in another video, and for some reason it doesn't remove this, so we have to go through. We could do like a replace, find and replace, so we could step through here and just remove this one, or we could just do replace all, and now we have removed all of these attributes that we need to take away, and then just do save. And now in the target folder here, this file is ready to be pushed to the repository, and then you create a pull request and Bob's your uncle, finished. So this was a very brief example because there were only 2 segments that had changed. In the GUI project, I hadn't prepared that. Let's see, we can actually go here. The GUI project is here. We have translations, and here you can see that there is quite a few languages, quite many languages. So this is the base file, which contains all these translatable strings. So same situation here. Whenever there's a change to the source code, which has a change to any string, localizable string, this one gets updated, but all of these have to be fixed. Pretty tough situation. We don't really want these changes, so that makes it a bit hard to make change. If you find an error in the localizable strings, it's hard to fix that because it means you have to fix all of these. But as you saw in the previous example, it was not that difficult. So just to play around a little bit, I will choose now the Czech localized file, and I have prepared a project for this. Recent projects, and it's this one here. So obviously, as you can imagine, I have in the source file, in the source folder, I have placed the English localizable strings sort of in the base, this base file up there, and in the auto folder there I have placed the old out-of-date Czech translation. And when I opened Omega T, and when I open this project in Omega T, just like before, Omega T pulls in all the already translated strings because it can match this string here with the matched in the CS, or the translated file there. And then it can take, if it's 100% match, it just populates. All the 100% matches are automatically put in there. So all we have to do to find the places we need to update is to go to next translated segment. And I'm not sure what happened here. I'm not sure why it says it's not translated. Next untranslated. All right, so there. Okay, so this segment is untranslated. Maybe it was added. The string was added to the source code, but it has not yet been translated. But we can see up here the closest match is this source code, this source string, daemon failed to start, which in the old translation was translated like this. And obviously I don't speak a single word of Czech, but somebody could take a guess here. Maybe we could pick up failed and maybe No, wouldn't even be worth guessing. So let's instead go to the next untranslated string. So we had to view only wallet. Who knows which one that could be. But anyway, this should be done by a Czech speaking person, and it would be pretty easy for that person obviously to just step through these untranslated segments and fix them. This particular string here, please enter new password, and there already exists a translation for enter wallet password. Yeah, who would take a guess? Prosim would probably be please. And yeah, we could make maybe a guess if we poked around a little bit and maybe choose one there. So basically that's what you do. Change, update, or translate these untranslated segments and create translated documents, replace or change the file name, remove all those attributes called status or whatever it's at, like I showed you before, and then you're ready to upload and push and create a pull request. That's basically it. Stay tuned for more information on Omega T.